Mrs. Michon. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Jordan McGinnis, and I am an MOT student at Texas Women's University. I'm in my second year right now. Today, I just want to explain what we're going to be doing this morning. We're going to be completing a school assignment for my program, in which we are going to be conducting an interview that will be recorded, and we will watch it in class. And in this interview, I'm going to be asking you questions just about you and your son, and typical kind of what you do on your daily activities, and that will help me gather information about you that I can use to pick out which assessments might be best and what we could really work on in occupational therapy. So this is really just to help me get to know you a little bit better, okay? Do you have any questions for me before we begin?
No.
Okay. Well, I think just to begin, could you tell me a little bit about what you and your son do on a typical day? Like what does he do from waking up to going to bed?
During the week, he gets up at about 6:30. He has to have some downtime, eats breakfast, and then his clothes are laid out and he dresses himself, still needs prompting to put his pajamas up. Then we gather up and we head to school, commute to school in Dallas. And then he's in school from 8:30 to 3:30. Comes home, has downtime, has to eat, and then strict homework time, and then bath, downtime, and bed. So that's kind of our routine.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty scheduled routine that he has on typical weekdays.
Yes.
What does he do during some of that downtime?
Legos. He likes to tinker with Legos, play with his friends, a lot of outdoor activities, like football, and then just some downtime watching TV.
Okay, so he does like to get out and be active.
Oh, yeah.
And things. Okay.
Yes.
And then does he play with kids from school or kids around the neighborhood?
The neighborhood.
Okay.
Down the street.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Legos, and then does he like to just watch TV sometimes at night? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
that's kind of his downtime, kind of unwinding time.
I can understand that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so we talked about some of the activities he enjoys doing during the downtime during the week, but what about during the weekend? What are some activities or hobbies that he likes to do?
You know, he loves to ride his bike, go fishing, playing sports outside with his friends. He spends a lot of time outside on the weekends.
That's good.
Yes. So,
Okay.
active things.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Running around, playing games and
Yes.
things. Okay. What would you say would be his role in the house and like the community? Do you understand what that means by like role?
Part of the family, I think, is following rules in the family. He's got certain chores he has to do, which for him still requires a lot of structure and prompting. But mainly for him, keeping up with Cullen. You know, getting dressed, putting his clothes in the dirty laundry basket, showering on his own independently, taking care of Cullen's little world. And sometimes I'll have him feed the dogs, help take out the trash.
Okay, so it seems like he does a lot of things by himself independently. It does require a couple prompts and cues,
Yes.
but he does have chores around the house sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what would you think are activities that may be difficult for him to accomplish?
You know, for us, he has a lot of sensory with eating. He has a definite selective eating disorder, so
Okay.
you know, he's got probably 20 or less items that he will eat. He won't eat from fruits or vegetables and hasn't since he was 9 months old. So that's a challenge for us, you know, as far as nutritional standpoint. Fine motor things are still difficult. Riding, even putting a belt on. He can tie shoes, but it's real loose. You know, usually a lot of times I have to go back and do it. So the fine motor and the sensory.
Does some of the fine motor things make anything with like the Lego building difficult, or is that?
You know, somewhat, yeah. You know, manipulating the little parts, definitely following directions, which Lego work is good for him because you have to really follow the manual, so that helps a lot. I mean, he likes doing it, but it's also good for him to follow directions.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I brought up the Legos just because for children our main occupation is play.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can in OT to ensure that he can follow through with those occupations.
Right.
So, okay, good. What would you say are his priorities? Like, what do you think he would want to benefit from in OT without actually realizing that he's just sitting in therapy?
Probably the fine motor skills, because he's definitely delayed. Organizational skills is a significant delay in organizational skills. So even with play, like Legos, you have to get the pieces first and then look at the steps, but it requires a lot of prompting. He's come a long way, but I think he would not be as frustrated, if he had better fine motor skills. Eating causes a lot of stress for him. And he's been in occupational therapy since he was 3 with that, and it's an ongoing, probably will be, but I think it wouldn't be invoke so much anxiety if he could develop a broader food base.
Okay, so we talked about the fine motor things, especially with like play, and then some of the sensory deals with as far as eating occupations.
Right.
Would be his priorities. Would your priorities be the same, or would you have your own priorities as his mother?
Those would be the same, because they invoke a lot of stress, battles, and definitely organizational, that component.
Especially those occupations, because you have to,
Yes.
you have to eat multiple times a day.
Yes.
That's a lot of anxiety that could happen.
Oh yeah, and I'm, fixing specific things for him just so he will eat. Because if he doesn't eat, then you have lots of meltdowns because he's hungry. So, yeah, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I've gathered a really good amount of information just about you and your son, so that can help me come up with what assessments might be best and what we can really focus on in occupational therapy that would both benefit him and your family, as well as what's really important to you guys. Because that's important to us as OT, to make sure that we are client-centered in all of our approaches, and that we're working on things that you find are important and what you value. So thank you so much for meeting with me and doing this interview. Do you have any questions for me before we close?
No, thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I look forward to meeting you in the future.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jordan.
Okay.
You'll have to edit it.
Yeah.
Hi, Jordan.
Oh, Dad, come here. I don't want to erase it. He ran away.
He did. I'm gonna get this little doggy in.
Thanks,
He
Aunt
might go ballistic because he didn't know y'all. He's evil. Brace yourself. Wait, be nice.